It's a snowy and emotional day in Buffalo as the Bills are about to take the field in this divisional playoff matchup against Cincinnati. The AFC playoffs with Kansas City in the 5th consecutive year in the AFC Championship game. We'll take on Cincinnati in KC if the Bengals win here. If it's Buffalo as the opponent, the Bills and Chiefs will meet at the neutral site next Sunday in Atlanta. Over 70,000 on hand, one of whom is America's hero, Damar Hamlin. You saw him being transported into the stadium. His mom, Nina, his father, Mario, a short while ago, and his little brother and hero, Demir, heading up to one of the suites to watch this game. It's just a big wow here today in Buffalo. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Jay Feely, and Gene Steratore. What can you say? I mean, we got these teams coming together. After what happened 20 days ago, it looked like tragedy, but now has turned into a triumphant story that's galvanized this country. And these two teams, they handled it so well, but here they are meeting in such a high-stakes game.
Oh, this is unbelievable. They have Hamlin here. Believe me, if they even see him on the Jumbotron or he walks out, this place is going to go nuts. This is a monster game. We knew all year long. Cincinnati, Buffalo, Kansas City are going to be there toward the end, and here we are, only 3 teams standing, and it's these 3, and these quarterbacks are probably one of the biggest reasons why.
Well, that's what you're talking about. Mahomes is already on the next Sunday, and here you've got one more ready to go for the championship game next week. Will it be Josh or will it be Joe? Woo. Let's talk Josh first.
Does that mean you're picking Josh?
No, we got him queued up.
We're going to see how it goes. Right now, Josh Allen's playing at an incredibly high level. Everyone knows a mistake here and there sometimes has allowed other teams to stay in the game. But when he puts it all together and protects the football, I mean, he does things that nobody else can do, and that's why he's always going to be a challenge, especially when he's at home.
And then you got Joe, Mr. Cool. Okay, all he's done is win on the road in playoff action, and he's got an offensive line that's a giant concern here today.
It is a giant concern because they, for 15 games, were amazing this year, but now all of a sudden, 3 guys out from what it was. This is going to be hard. He's got to do what he did last year. Last year, he put his team on his back. That's what he's got to do if he's going to get back to the Super Bowl or the AFC title game this year.
For more on that patchwork offensive line, down to the sideline, Tracy, it's all yours.
Jim, this offseason, the Bengals went out and they rebuilt that offensive line to protect their franchise quarterback. It is a big reason why they are here. For 15 straight games, they had that line. That is, until they lost Lael Collins to a torn ACL, and then Alex Kappa to an ankle injury. And last week, they lost Jonah Williams to a knee injury. That means a reshuffling of this offensive line. They're without 3 starters. Jackson Carman, who turns 23 today, will get his first NFL start at left tackle.
Well, everyone will be checking that out for sure, Tracy, as we're about to get started here in Buffalo. Bengals and Bills on CBS.
Motivation. It drives us as human beings. It exists for a multitude of reasons. But what is it that motivates these men? Does it come from their franchise's troubled past?
The 49ers have won it, beating the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl.
And it is no good. He missed it to the right.
Or does it come from within?
And one of the biggest heartbreaks you'll ever see.
Ever.
What about motivation for their fellow brother? What about for each other?
He's got an alley down the right side.
What a tribute to Damar.
The motivation for one singular goal
A leaping catch.
Touchdown, Cincinnati!
can stem from many experiences.
This crowd is going crazy.
And every experience leads up to this exact moment
To the end zone. Oh, it's Gabe Davis!
to bring you one step closer to your goal.
Bam! Bam! Bam!
1-week seasons from here on out. That's it, man. Go 1-0.
Welcome to the AFC Divisional.
Well, Justin Haley teeing us up to get us started here. Could not be more prime. So we even have, for this divisional playoff presented by Intuit TurboTax, a snow-covered field and a sky shrouded in snow. We are ready to go, and before we kick it off, let's send it down to Jay Feely.
Well, Jim, about 2 o'clock, somebody shook that snow globe. It started snowing. It should snow throughout the game. I think the footing's good with the field turf so far. No wind down here, so it shouldn't impact these high-powered offenses. And in a game as evenly matched as this, it could come down to special teams. We know about Hines, his 2 kickoff returns against New England. But the real concern for Cincinnati is a rookie long snapper, a rookie punter and holder, and a second-year kicker who's been shaky at times this year. And Jim, we know in a game like this, one big play, one big mistake in special teams, that could be the difference.
Sounds like, Jay, thanks for coming down to a field goal in the end. And I wouldn't be surprised as the Bills won the toss, and they're going to kick it. They defer here at the top.
If you wanted football weather, you want something that looks like a playoff game, Jim, this is it right here. And it's just one of those moments that you knew was just going to happen. These two teams were going to meet, and there's Mr. Cool. Joe Cool right there. Joe Burrow almost impervious to pressure, and you see what he's done. It's almost one of those things, Jim, that you just don't expect young guys to be able to handle all this, right, that early. 4 playoff wins, more than anybody else in the Bengals history. This so early in his career, it's really impressive.
Both of these quarterbacks today, age 26. As all 8 quarterbacks that took teams to the divisional round were under 30. It's only the second time it's ever been that way. Whereas both home teams were victorious on Saturday. Broke the trend last year when all 4 road teams won on divisional weekend. And away we go. Back. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Royal Caribbean. This is all the vacations. Come seek. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by Pepsi. Made for football watching. What a day to watch. Sit back and enjoy divisional football. Catch a few snowflakes. This matchup, the biggest win streaks by 2 teams ever coming into a divisional round game. Gives them their 6th. Style and substance. Yeah, that's the combo. He was talking style. Substance here. He's just already gone past now with that mark in the postseason with 4 wins. There's the style, by the way. Looked like you showing up to the game today.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Tony.
It's very difficult. The footing out there is very difficult right now for the Bills, and part of that, though, is because these are great players. T. Higgins, 2nd-round pick from Clemson, and this is a number 1. I know everyone knows about Chase, but he really is a number 1, Jim. This guy, on almost any other team, you would be defending him and figuring out how to double-team him.
Nightmare start, though, for the Bills. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by New Balance. We got now. And by Subway. Subway's upping their game with the Subway Series menu. And for more, let's go to Tracy.
Jim, Damar Hamlin returned to the facility this week. Sean McDermott telling us it was so good to have him around. He told us it's baby steps right now. It's all completely up to Hamlin, how involved he wants to be every day. A spokesperson close to the family said despite being out of the hospital, he still has a lengthy recovery. He requires oxygen and he has his heart rate monitored regularly, but he is upbeat, he's positive, and I was told he has a big smile on his face.
To the 25. Tracy, down to you.
Jim, there's a bond between these 2 teams, between these 2 fan bases. The support for each other started back in 2017 when the Bengals win over the Ravens sent the Bills to the playoffs for the first time in 17 years. Bills Mafia donated more than $400,000 to Andy Dalton's charity. Then after Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field, Bengals fans came out in support, held vigils, and donated thousands of dollars to Damar's foundation. The respect these 2 franchises have for each other is evident, but obviously on hold today, Jim.
Yeah, you're right, but that's awesome to see. And let's not forget, too, Andy Dalton wrote a healthy check, too, just in the last few weeks. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Amazon, spend less, smile more. Geico, switch today and see all the ways you could save. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Well, now the Bills have a chance for back-to-back possessions. 1:49 to go in the first half. They are the best team in the league on the season in the last 2 minutes of the first half, and then having deferred to the top, they'll be getting the third quarter kick. Back with Tony and Gene, great to have you in the booth again.
Great to be here again.
We're starting to keep you busy again, but you thought that was the right call.
I did. It was the right call because Chase just didn't secure it on the front end quickly enough to then let that movement be kind of movement with control.
I'm not sure if you're a Bengal fan, you think that's the right call. If you're a Bill fan, you think
you know, Tony, when you're a ref, half of everybody doesn't like anything that you do, Tony.
Well, that's also if you're just Tony Romo, it's the same thing. Half of everyone doesn't like you, and the other half mostly don't like you.
Gene, for what it's worth, I would say well more than half the crew here likes you.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe.
Maybe, Gene, maybe.
There's Knox.
I mean, half is a lot, Jim.
I'm being generous.
He's the best guy.
5-yard pass play to Dawson Knox.
And this is where it's going to be troublesome for Cincinnati because the explosiveness, the drop back game, Josh Allen's, years in the league now. He knows how to get to stuff, and he can use his legs, and he can create big plays.
2nd and 5, and it appeared to be deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it's already 3rd down. Again, we got Verizon halftime report coming up. There's the Bengal legend right there, that left hand. Will take the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl. Boomer and JB, Phil, Nate, and Coach Cowher Davis.
Had an easy pick.
Yeah, you had a pick
to make an awkward swipe at it and show no athleticism. Big Game Gabe is better on offense than defense.
Usually makes those catches in the end zone when he's on offense. That's the end of the first half with the score. Cincinnati 17 and Buffalo 7. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. An impressive first half performance by the Bengals, leading by 10. We'll be back with the start of the second half after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. To 7. And let's take a look at the game day highlights presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar. Now Burrow, opening drive, found Chase for the touchdown.
I mean, that's as good a start as you could have, and using your legs, buying time, that's what he's done today. And right now, this is really difficult for Buffalo to me. Going into this game, it felt like it was really even. Cincinnati's 3 offensive linemen being down, it was like, that's going to be difficult to overcome. But honestly, Jim, the D-line of Cincinnati has dominated this game. That defensive approach from Lou Anarumo, switching up the defense, playing 3-man rush, 4-man, blitzing, it's really given the Bills a lot of trouble. And you're seeing Josh Allen try and figure out what they're in, and it's just getting everything thrown at him right now. But I think, they're more physical. Cincinnati, right now, is winning up front in the trenches on both sides of the ball. And that is concerning because that doesn't normally change in the second half in my experience.
Here's Hines fielding it to 5. Not allowed any big returns so far for Hines. Comes up 3 yards shy of the 30. Tracy, down to you.
Jim, I spoke with a frustrated Sean McDermott going into the locker room. He said, we are just not doing anything good enough right now. He said, defensively, we need to affect the rhythm of this offense. We need to get pressure on Joe Burrow. Offensively, they need to get into their own rhythm. Now, I can tell you, Damar Hamlin did come down from the box. He went into the locker room. I'm sure he had words for the team. We'll see if it provides a spark.
How about that?
That one ball to Gabe Davis in between 2 guys into a spot that was inhuman.
Here you see the numbers in the first half. I mean, Burrow thought he had a 3rd touchdown, and that was called back off the review, but still complete 66%, 186 yards total in these conditions. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Intuit TurboTax. Coors Light, made to chill. And by T-Mobile, with price lock guarantee. T-Mobile won't raise your rate ever. It's been flurries, snow showers throughout with, again, light winds. That's it. The NFL on CBS is excited and honored to bring you the AFC Championship presented by Intuit TurboTax. The winner of this game to take on the Chiefs. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with the NFL Today, the AFC Championship next Sunday on CBS. Cincinnati wins this game. The Bengals will go back to KC for the second straight year for the Lamar Hunt Trophy, the battle for the AFC. If it's Buffalo, it would be Buffalo and Kansas City at the neutral site in Atlanta. Of course, Philadelphia will host the NFC Championship next week against the winner of the game later tonight, Dallas and San Francisco. Do all that often. They ran for 257 yards in the season, and they picked up a first down.
No, he's perfect with it, but the reason this is shocking, like I talked about at halftime, the defense and offensive lines of the Bengals are dominating this football game. They are imposing their will on a Buffalo team who's used to imposing their will on opponents. That's why I said this is going to be a challenge.
Forward, it looks like the ball would have crossed the plane. We'll see. Step aside.
That the officials used.
That's really well said, Gene, because the truth is you can't be looking at two things at once. So when he's looking at it, it goes like your eyes have to go back and forth. It's not like baseball where he's feeling the catch and the first baseman.
Yes,
you know,
he's got to go through that progression, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
So
You've got to see zeros first.
Half a tenth of a second. Yeah.
You don't look and see one and then look back down. You wait for the zero.
First down.
Coming up on CBS Sports beginning Friday at 5 Eastern, the PGA Tour is in Torrey Pines for the Farmers Insurance Open. And then on Saturday, the day begins with college hoops, doubleheader, followed by, again, live tour coverage. Live final round Saturday at 4:30 Eastern time into the evening. That's coming up Friday and Saturday here on CBS. Names like Justin Thomas, Morikawa, Rahm, they'll all be there. Strong field in our season premiere of the PGA Tour next Friday and Saturday on CBS. Highmark Stadium here in Orchard Park, and the Bengals right at the get-go quieted things before this Bills Mafia and drove it right down the field. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. Get your TV together. And by Domino's. Get great deals on pizza, bread twists, chicken, desserts, and more. It's a 26-yard pass interference penalty, Gene, and it's a big call on a 3rd and 2. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the network you deserve, the savings that last. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. There's a whole lot to sort out here. They've ruled it an incomplete pass during the break. Back from the locker room and got right back into the lineup. The divisional playoffs conclude tonight. The Cowboys and 49ers on Fox at 6:30 Eastern. And next Sunday, don't miss the NFC Championship game on Fox at 3 Eastern, followed by the AFC Championship game on CBS at 6:30. All games presented by Intuit TurboTax. Timeout called by Buffalo. That was some impressive performance last night by Philadelphia to advance to the championship and be the host next week against the winner of Dallas and San Francisco. What are your thoughts on that game coming up?
I think that was very similar to this one, right? It's almost like everyone left right now going into today. I think we're the best teams in the NFL for the last month or two. So you could argue earlier in the year whatever you want, but truly you have Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Kansas City coming into today. You had Dallas, San Francisco, and Philadelphia coming into today. Those are the 6 best teams. I think Dallas can win this game, and I think they can win the Super Bowl. I also think San Francisco is as tough to play as anywhere else in the National Football League on the road in the playoffs. As you see, once again, just the effort Cincinnati's doing. That is going to be an incredible game. And Philadelphia was the team I told you a long time ago has a scheme that's almost impossible to stop offensively. Everyone's amazing.
Timeout called by Buffalo. What an effort by P. Ryan to pick up another Cincinnati first.
You've got to say Cincinnati is the team in the AFC going into the next year 3, regardless how the Super Bowl goes. But that's a tall task because Patrick Mahomes has a way of just showing up, right? He's going to be there in that stadium next week.
Will he be playing? There you see the turnaround, the road record, how that turned around. I mean, it's been remarkable.
Well, the one common theme there is Joe Burrow. He helps turn around sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, you're dead right. What he's done is amazing.
On it, State Farm postgame show is coming up as soon as this one ends. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Carr. I'm sure they'll have a lot of good takes on this game on the State Farm postgame show. But the players were not happy with the way it all got reworked and reconfigured with the game's cancellation, even down to the fact that tickets were being sold, which you had to do anyway, but they maybe didn't understand that. But that just made them feel like everybody looked at it like it was a foregone conclusion.
Oh, they're actually this good.
They're very good.
They're here to stay, Jim.
Yep, and they're on their way to a huge triumph in Buffalo with 2 minutes to go. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by H&R Block. It's tax season. And by Bud Light, who reminds you to drink responsibly. 2 minutes to go. Cincinnati shellacking of Buffalo here. What a performance by both sides of the ball. A lot of stars to single out, as Allen, with no timeouts to work with, that's knocked out of the hands of Knox. You said a minute ago you think that, well, you said Patrick Mahomes will be in the building, and I was saying, but will he be there playing? Because you've dealt with a high ankle sprain before. What does he face this week?
It's challenging because when I did it, I wasn't able to actually play the next week. Like, in other words, you can't walk. You can play the day of. So when it happened yesterday, I was like, he's going to play today. He's going to go ahead and like tape it up. They're going to go out there and adrenaline's going to kick in and he's going to be fine. But the next day, he's not going to be able to do anything. He's going to almost be on crutches on Wednesday. These rare gifts that are almost not seen. You can't even evaluate them.
So we got a rematch of last year's title game. It's the first AFC championship repeat matchup since the Ravens and Pats. The Ravens, Patriots, 2011 and 2012. And we've been there to see all those 3 wins by Cincinnati in a 1-year span. Look at the backflip in the end zone. Oh, that was pretty clever.
Yeah, that's always okay as long as you're not getting 70 snaps next week. Otherwise, don't do it. I do think, though, Joe Burrow has put himself right there. You cannot say he's not in the class anymore. He is right there with anybody. We'll see what happens with Brady. But right now, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow have been the class for a while in the AFC. They're still there. It's going to take a lot to catch up with them.
You saw Allen go over to Wilson, his old comrade from Wyoming.
Hey, my bad, bro. Hey, bro, I'm shooting you that ball last year, man. I got you.
He has that it factor, but you know what the it factor is to me, Jim? He sees things faster than other people.
And there's the meeting of the quarterbacks. Josh Allen whispering something into his ear.
We're in a golden age coming up here.
Oh, I mean, just like I said at the start, the last 3 standing.
Lamar Jackson's going to come back. I promise you next year.
There are
Watch how
others.
this plays out. Herbert's going to be there.
And Trevor Lawrence. I mean, you've got
Hurts.
Yeah, I'm talking AFC side, but
Yeah,
yes,
exactly,
you want to expand it to the NFC. We're all set now to go to Kansas City next Sunday. The AFC Championship game between the Bengals and the Chiefs again. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot. Joe just came over and said the job is not done, but what a performance from start to finish. What can you say about your offense, your defense, that offensive line that everyone talked about coming in banged up? How did you get it done tonight?
Man, complete game from everybody. Offense, defense, special teams, domination from start to finish. That's what we expected. Job's not finished. We got another big one next week on the road. excited for it.
We talked about it yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder. Everyone talking about a neutral AFC Championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
And then finally, you're off now. Another road trip, this time to Kansas City, a rematch of last year's AFC Championship. Your early thoughts on that one?
It's going to be a fun one. You know, the two of the top guys in the league, two of the top teams in the league. Great defenses, great overall teams, great coaches. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Excited to play in it.
We'll see you there. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Joe Burrow leads the way. The Cincinnati team with 412 yards, 30 first downs, and never turned it over once.
I like that kid. I've liked Allen. I've liked Mahomes. This kid's right there. I tell you what, this is going to be fun for a while. Next week, Jim, do you want to go do that one?
I might as well, right? I'll see you then.
I'll show up. I'll show up for that. This is exciting.
The final score is Cincinnati 27 and Buffalo 10. Coming up next, the State Farm Postgame Show for Tony, Tracy, Jay, and Gene. Jim Nance saying so long from Orchard Park. Thank you for watching the Divisional Playoffs presented by Intuit TurboTax.
This is the State Farm Postgame Show.
All season long, the Cincinnati Bengals have set out to prove that their Super Bowl run last season was absolutely no fluke. Folks, and today they made a serious statement by running roughshod over the Bills, winning 27-10, and returned to the AFC Championship game. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the State Farm Postgame Show. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes Presents and the stories of real-life heroes, followed by Ghosts and a special presentation of Top Gun that's coming up tonight right here on CBS. Meanwhile, back here inside Studio 43, I'm James Brown along with Phil, Coach Nate, and Boomer.
Guys, what a game by the Bengals. I mean, they just ran roughshod all over the place in Buffalo. This is the Intuit AFC Championship game next week. It's going to be 12 degrees, Phil, out in Kansas City. The Cincinnati Bengals will be visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be there alongside of them to witness maybe what we saw last year. I don't understand how the Bengals can be an underdog in any of these games. Yeah. The reason I say that is because they came in on a heater. You know, they had won 8 in a row. Yep. They had taken care of business. I know they had a few offensive linemen missing, but this guy right here, he's the difference maker. He's got ice in his veins. He's the unquestioned leader. They were incredibly efficient today. Yeah. 412 yards on offense. Their offensive line just beat up the opposing defensive line of the Bills. And I can't say enough about Joe Mixon. Remember, he was the guy that first came out and said, you know what, guys? You're going to be selling tickets to a game in Atlanta? Right. And I love what Joe Burrow said after the game. Refunds! Everybody bought tickets to that game that was supposedly going to take place in Atlanta next week.
Yeah, and there's Mixon right there, and he was doing it all. You know, catching out the backfield, of course, but it was in between the tackles. It just seemed like big blow after big blow that really deflated that defense. And I got to give you credit, Boom. You called it, and you weren't just being a homer, picking the Cincinnati Bengals. You legit thought that they had a shot because of how they play on offense and defense. And I have to give credit to Frank Pollock, offensive line coach. With the new faces and new places on that offensive line, they were ready. They didn't just protect Joe Burrow, they also ran the ball very well. And there it is, Coach.
You look at it right there, and they won the battle in the trenches. They absolutely did. They imposed themselves, as Tony Romo was talking about. They did that so in the running game, 173 yards. They did in the passing game. Joe Burrow was only pressured 8 times. And I give a lot of credit to Lou Anarumo. Yep. What he did in that defensive side of the ball, they were got after Josh Allen all game. Yeah. And you know what? He was uncomfortable, never comfortable within her. And Mike Hilton was in the second half there. And that's the one thing about Lou Anarumo. He's going to save something until the second half of games. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Mike Hilton, you didn't see him in the first half. Second half, he was all over Josh Allen. And again, this defense showed up in the red zone. And the Cincinnati Bengals, they just totally dominated this game.
Bill, when they show me, when they pick up a blitz, that'll be the first time I see it.
Yeah,
I mean, they blitzed everywhere. Yeah. Buffalo never had an answer. Got to give a lot of credit to both coaching sides of the football for Cincinnati. Offense, great game plan, Joe Burrow. Defense, you said it with Lou Anarumo. They have so many things. In football, who usually wins the game? The most physical team. Yeah. Was there any doubt? Yeah. If this was a boxing match, we're not going to the scorecards. This was a knockout.
That's a fact.
And it comes down to this. You talk about their confidence and energy. I got to read a little bit. Joe Burrow says, remember we were laughing?
Yes.
The championship window is always open while I'm here. I mean, come on. What quarterback talks like this and the way he acts? But you know what? He is the true, really leader of the team, the spokesman. They all gather around him.
They do.
And it's just one of the many reasons why.
So what's the old expression go? It's not bragging if you can back it up.
One thing I will say about this team, they're going to have to, I think they're going to need to do it right now this year, because some of these guys are not going to be on the team next year because of the amount of money that Joe Burrow is going to command as the starting quarterback of the Bengals. And you could just see how cool he is.
He steps right up the offensive line, and you see right there, he's always looking downfield. We talked about that before.
Picked up the blitz.
You know, in a great design right here. The quick screen, nope. Here's Hayden Hurst going to just slip right in the back.
He's been big for him, Coach Hayden Hurst.
Big time, big. And the patience of Joe Burrow, I mean, the checkdowns, the Samaje Perine, to Joe Mixon, and in the running game, I'm telling you, that guy right there, that stance right there by Joe Burrow, that's him.
Says it all.
That's him right there.
Says it all.
And I know we're talking about the offensive side of the ball, but, you know, we have mentioned this Bengals defense, they stepped up big. This makes 5 straight postseason games where Stephon Diggs didn't score a touchdown. And you have to give credit to the squad today. I mean, they locked him up. Before the game, you said, well, they better put 2 guys on him.
Yes.
And they had guys that were bracketing him or maybe even doing cover 2, safety in the corner. But Stephon Diggs was trying to make plays, and they were just swarming all over the wide receivers. At the line of scrimmage, they were physical. They make sure they were bracketed.
They're throwaways. And
that's exactly what they are. And here's Stephon Diggs. You know, he's looking at his QB. I don't know what he's saying, but can't really blame Josh Allen
at all.
You got to give credit to that Bengals defense.
I just want to give a lot of credit to the Buffalo Bills for everything that they've been through. I mean, there's been a lot of distractions. You're talking about dealing with a lot of things, and I know everybody else has to deal with it, but DeMar Hamlin was real, and that was in their locker room. And they've had to come in through that, and you're talking about having to move a game from Buffalo to Detroit. It's been one thing after the shooting before the season started right there in the city of Buffalo. This city of Buffalo, they've been very, very resilient. Very proud of you should be of this football team, because I tell you, they represent the very best of what our country is about, because there's humility up there, there's resiliency up there, there's a commitment, there's a sense of purpose with what they do. Yes, they lost today, but I'll tell you what, it was hard not to pull for them, given all the things that they had to go through.
I think that's well said, Coach. And the one thing I will say now as we look forward to next week's game in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is 0-3 against the Cincinnati Bengals and Lou Anarumo. And I'll tell you, he's playing on that bad ankle next week. You take a look at these numbers. Patrick struggled a little bit. I would still say, 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions is pretty good, and 250 yards per game is pretty good.
Right.
But I think he comes into this game, obviously, going to be hurt with that bad ankle. That's his plant foot. And we were talking about this in the pregame show and what kind of impact this is going to have on him moving forward. And I think we all agree, for who he is as a player, part of his dynamism, I guess is the word I'm looking for. He ends up moving around a lot. And I think this is really going to hinder that.
And it does make you think. You see that the Bengals got to Josh Allen 8 QB hits. So they were banging him around a little bit. And with Patrick Mahomes being hobbled, is he going to be able to be himself? Because a lot of the plays that this offense makes is Patrick Mahomes stretching that pocket and extending plays with his legs.
But they're different than they were a year ago. This football team can run the football. Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, they got more out of their backfield right now. You know what? They've played a lot of close games. And I feel like right now Patrick Mahomes can lean on it. Kadarius Toney suddenly looks like Tyreek Hill these last couple of weeks and getting the ball in his hands. A fast guy. So this is a different team. They're young on defense. They got some young secondary guys who are growing up as the season's going on. This is not the same Kansas City team that they're going into. It's going to be a great matchup. Clearly, I think these are the best 2 teams in the AFC that we're looking at.
Well, 2 big teams, you know what I mean? So they match up well that way. Today, when I watched the game with Buffalo and Cincinnati, Cincy just looks like a bigger, they are. And Cincinnati's defensive front is big. But, too, yes, Patrick Mahomes is going to be hindered a little bit. But, man, we got Andy Reid. And, man, he can dial up some plays where we don't need a lot of movement from the quarterback.
Going to have to call his best game, Phil.
I think he'll be up to it. He's that guy They always they create whatever they need for that week. And it'll be interesting to see how Patrick Mahomes is, how much he can move around to make those extra plays.
They talk about the narrative has been all week, Cincinnati, and they'll be giving us the chance and everything else. And I know they talked about the selling the games for the neutral site. But right now, they're on the side? Kansas City says, Cincinnati, we own you. That's right now, Andy Reid.
That's a chip on their shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, you guys think you own us. You have beaten us the last 3 times. So right now, if I'm Andy Reid, like, I'm going to come in here thinking, oh, yeah, we're boastful. Go ahead. Go tell me. You're going to beat us?
I mean, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm thinking the same thing. if the Chiefs are Roy Jones Jr., the Bengals, Antonio Tarver. And that's exactly what it is.
All right.
You know what I mean?
I will say this. Do you guys think that we're going to see the first $500 million NFL player in Joe Burrow?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Patrick Mahomes is $450, and that was done 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Well, I'm going to ask the person who will know. How much of it's guaranteed?
A lot.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot.
Oh.
Nate, I'm with you. Cincinnati backed it up. They still had their chip on their shoulders.
Yep.
And look here, they got it done today. No question about it. On the ground, Joe Mixon, 105 rushing yards and a touchdown. And after the game, it was our own Tracy Wilson catching up with Joe Mixon.
The run game got it done. Joe Burrow, always Joe Cool. What can you say about his confidence out there every game?
Hey, Joe Burrow, unbelievable. And in games like this, he always rises to the occasion, and so does our teammates. I said it earlier, under the brightest lights, we shine even brighter. So we just got to keep it going, keep on building. We're going to celebrate tonight and get ready for the AFC Championship next week.
Speaking of that AFC Championship, what are your thoughts on heading back to Kansas City to play that one for a chance to go back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, with our team, we know who we got and we know what it is. We know the task at hand. We know how they're gonna come with it, and at the same time, I know how our team gonna come with it too. So it's gonna be a great show. I guess everybody ready for the Mahomes and Burrow show, but I guarantee you, it's gonna be a dogfight out there, and I look forward to it.
Great game for you today. Congrats.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I did try to get our producer, Drew Kaliski, to take a shot at you guys. He wanted me to look like Nate's buddy, young Dylan. Chair? Well, I got a bad piston in this chair right now. I can't go up any higher. But with that in mind, Boomer, let's talk about the NFC.
Blame it on the piston, Jay.
All right, take a look at the NFC playoff bracket brought to you by Intuit. As you can see, you got Dallas and San Francisco getting ready to kick off over on Fox at 6:30. And the winner is going to play that team a little bit south of us, boys. That would be the Philadelphia Eagles, who last night just showed how good they really were and how healthy I think Jalen Hurts is. And that was the key thing going into that game. We all thought maybe he was about 95, 98%. It looked like he was 100% to me last night.
Yeah, they really did show the difference between a dominant team and a good team that got into the playoffs. But this matchup coming up is going to be a good one. And I'm looking at Brock Purdy. I mean, he's been playing well this postseason. They worked that offense inside out. George Kittle is right there with him on his hip, making plays for him.
And how about Dak Prescott last week? Dak Prescott last week, 4 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown. You can see him right here hitting a number of different people. He had Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and Tony Pollard in the backfield. So I'm going to tell you, they came off maybe their best game. Now, yes, there's going to be a defense we're going against. It'll be better than the Tampa Bay defense because that San Francisco defense can get after you.
Oh, yeah.
Like Dak Prescott, you can see him right here. These guys are going to come in here, and I'll tell you what, look at the numbers right there. 5 total touchdowns, 300 yards passing. He did that last week in a playoff game. And again, you're talking about some playmakers they had. Dalton Schultz showed up big in that game, and he may have to show up big again this one because there's got to be a little bit of a clock that goes on right now for Dak Prescott. I only got so much time to get it. Him and Tony Pollard, I can see having big games in this.
You know, if I was Mike McCarthy all week long, I'd be going, hey, Dak, you were terrible last week. And, just because, look, Boomer, when you have bad games like at a quarterback, you're so focused and you're really in. Dak Prescott played at a different level, mentally, physically. The energy
he was lights out.
Was contagious with everything. But talking about the game today, Brock Purdy, I'll be surprised if Kyle Shanahan doesn't come out and be somewhat conservative. Let your quarterback settle into the game. Don't come out and think we're going to beat him with all this stuff. No, because that Dallas defense, I don't know if it's great, but the pass rush is really good. And they got playmakers.
You know how last week we watched the Giants beat the Minnesota Vikings? And Daniel Jones had a career game up and down the field. Don't forget that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a losing record going into this playoff game last week. And it was kind of reminiscent of what I saw the Giants do to Minnesota. Like you said, Coach, this is like a completely different animal now.
I know.
The 49ers are just like the Eagles are. And Dak is under more pressure than anybody in these playoffs. And he's got to come through with a performance today that speaks to him being the long-term solution for Dallas, I believe.
Yeah, and I think you look at where he's at in this season, and there's been a lot of questions since he's come back. He's, all the interceptions he's thrown, but last week was one that he can build off. And, Dak Prescott, he's got a little something about him, too.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a leadership, a little bit of a kind of a strut about him.
Yep.
And I think last week he got that. And he's got some playmakers around him. Now, like I talked about, his offensive line going against that defensive line, if he can just settle that down and get into it, because they got a guy on the other side named Micah Parsons. I'll tell you what, Brock Purdy better be aware of where he's lined up, because that guy can wreck the backfield as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But speaking of playmakers, I mean, that San Francisco offense, they are loaded top to bottom. You know, Brock really doesn't have to do much. Just get the ball into the playmakers' hands, starting with George Kittle, like I said. But Deebo Samuel being back in the fold, I mean, this dude can do it all. And we talked about it. When he lines up in the backfield, this is not some wide receiver moonlighting as a running back.
No.
They just go old school. Hand the ball off to him, pitch it to him, and he goes downhill just like Christian McCaffrey does.
You know what I love about Deebo, though, is that when he gets the ball, he's looking to hit somebody.
He wants some contact,
that's the attitude.
Well, he's a running back. He just happens to play wide receiver. No, I'm serious. I think he really is a running back, and running back is just so tough to do too. So, but you know, the San Francisco offense, they have so many guys that are multiple. In other words, he goes in the backfield. Christian McCaffrey's in the backfield. He can beat you wide receiver in the slot. Kyle Juszczyk, you know, he's
Brandon Ayuk is running all around in motion.
Of course, that big old tight end, George Kittle, man.
Yeah.
But Deebo Samuel, it's like they kept him on ice all year.
Right.
Waited till the time was big. Now they're going to use him more as a running back.
You know, and Brock Purdy, he's still a rookie. I mean, so as you start getting into the playoffs.
He's not playing like it, Coach.
Yeah, I know, but we've seen it show up, because I'm telling you, at some point, the rookie becomes a rookie at some time.
Boomer said that the Bengals were cocky coming into the game. Well, guess what? They are letting off a little steam right there. It is, in fact, a jubilant locker room of Cincinnati.
Hey, it doesn't matter what the world thinks. We got a bunch of killers in this locker room, man. You don't care what they throw at you in any way, shape, or form. You just walk on the field and take care of business, and the whole world knows that now. I love you guys. Hey, we talked last night. They had the best home playoff record in the NFL. It went from 13-1 to 13-2. I love it.
Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Who they think gonna beat them Bengals? No!
I got it.
All right, we'll come back at it. Hey, next Sunday, everything is on the line, folks, and we will see who will remain from the AFC to play for the NFL's ultimate prize. That's when the Chiefs meet the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. Our coverage begins with us and the NFL today. That's at 6 Eastern. The AFC Championship game next Sunday on CBS. Hey, look, I close out with this. You know, Nate has been just a wonderful colleague of ours.
Yes.
You know, very polite and easygoing. And you know how he closes out the season for us? JB, the chair sinking down has nothing to do with the pitcher. It's about who's sitting in the chair and the kind of pressure I put on it. Hey, folks.
I love you, JB.
I love him nonetheless, folks. We'll see you next week on the AFC Championship game here on CBS.
Wow.